welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about our favorite homeschool history curriculum. We have done a few. We've used Abeka's history, we've used Notgrass's history, and this year we are using Heritage Studies, which is by BJU. And I would like to say that my favorite has been Notgrass. I have so many reasons why I choose Notgrass over the others. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about those reasons today, kind of show you what we do to make it fit our homeschooling vibe, I guess, how we like to homeschool. I have so many different videos on the flip throughs through Notgrass, so make sure you guys check out my videos on my channel. So if you guys want to see more of an in-depth look into their history books, that's the way to go. But I want to start off by saying that, let me show you guys first. So for instance, for my daughter, for third through fourth grade, we started using Notgrass, and we also used it with my youngest niece, or my younger niece, and she was in second and third grade. So for those years, we went ahead and we used the Our Star Spangled Story history. Now with their history, it comes with 2 textbooks. You have a part 1 and a part 2. It comes with a timeline, and it comes with a book for rhymes and rhythms. It's music on a CD. And you know, we really enjoyed this curriculum. I do want to say that it comes with like a notebook that you can purchase that they do their workbook pages out of, and I don't have to share it with you guys because they've already used them. But for instance, we got through these, I want to say within 2.5 years, give or take a little bit. Now basically for the Our Star Spangled Story, this is geared towards grade 1 through 4th. So you can spread these books out for 4 years. Now I'm really excited because that's what I plan on doing with my son. He's in kindergarten now, and I really plan on using this for his first grade year. And so I want to take my time and work 2 years on book 1 and 2 years on book 2. With the girls, we were able to do it in 1 year, give or take a couple months. We had a few units left to get through at the beginning of each year. So we really just finished book 2, I want to say maybe 6 weeks after we started this year. So it took us about 6 weeks to get through the last of the units or the lessons. Now how they have it is I'm not going to go too in depth, but I will tell you guys a little bit here. Make sure you guys check out the other videos though, because I don't want to repeat myself over and over again. But in these books, it literally comes with, I think each book has like 15 units, and there's 3 lessons per unit. So this textbook is literally everything. It has the lesson in here, which is written in a text form, kind of like a textbook, but it truly is like a Charlotte Mason style. It also has an eclectic style to it, traditional, I mean, all different types of styles in this one curriculum. You can definitely pull in things. That's why I truly like it. Now with this curriculum, it's really light, it's really easy to go through at the end of each lesson. So let me just share with you guys before I get really confusing here. So like I said, each unit has 3 lessons. So basically the first lesson here is the first people to come to America. So you have really beautifully illustrated or photos in here. The pages are really eye-catching and they draw your attention in. And then at the end of each lesson, you have your lesson activities that you can do. So for here, it talks to you about looking at your map that's in this book. It tells you to do the rhythms and rhymes, which is a song, to do your student workbook. And then if you are doing literature through them, that's when you would do the literature pages. But we didn't do literature through them. We used Abeka. So we skipped that. And then there are 3 questions to ask your kiddos to make sure that they were actually listening and comprehending what you just read to them. And then they have hands-on activities. We did not normally do the hands-on activities. We kind of skipped through those. We mainly did our workbook, our timeline. We did the rhythms and rhymes once in a while, not all the time. And we always did the questions at the end. You can either have them write it in a composition book, which we started, and then we eventually stopped and I would just ask them the questions and they would answer them to me. So that's basically how each one of these are. So the next one is at home. Let's see, at home in Acoma Pueblo. So each lesson is really, really short. So I do really appreciate that about Notgrass because they are pretty short. So if you are a homeschooler that likes less in your homeschool, then this would be the way to go. Now, I'm more of a traditional learner and teacher, so this was great for a starting point for us. And whenever I came across a lesson that I wanted us to learn more about, or if I felt the kids wanted to learn more about, or they were asking questions, or just something that I kind of wanted to dive deeper in, that's when I would pull in our own supplements. And that is another reason why I truly love this curriculum, because you can do it either way. There's so many different things and so many different ways to do it. So it kind of is geared towards any homeschooling family. I really love that it is also Christian based, so they have biblical stuff in here. They talk a lot about Christianity and how that has a role in history and in each one of these stories. When they talk about different topics, they always bring in something that has to do with somebody that was Christian or how it was pulled into that time for history. So I really love that it is Christian based. Now, going back, because see, I jump around you guys, but when I was talking about doing supplements that I can add into it, that gave us time to watch movies, documentaries. We were able to do our own workbooks and read different books that can go with it and read alouds. So with the first 2 years that we used our Star Spangled Story, that is when I started to realize I wanted to do workbooks to go along with these studies for the kids. And that is why I really enjoyed this curriculum as well. Okay, so I kind of wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I added in to kind of give you guys an idea. So basically, Titanic wasn't something that was in their workbook, but it was something that my kids really wanted to do. So I went ahead and got what was the Titanic, and then I put together my own workbook for the Titanic that they worked through after reading this. Another one that we did was, it did touch on World War I, so I picked up this book through DK, and I went ahead and made this workbook for World War I. Don't mind it. It used to have binding on here for my Pro Click, but because this is last year's, I've already taken everything apart because this is my daughter's work. So that's why everything is bound together like that. We also went ahead and jumped deeper into Ellis Island. So I picked up this book that we read and I put together this little workbook to go along with it. We also read I Am Anne Frank because we read about this time in history, just not specifically really about her. So we picked that up, and then I put together this little booklet for Anne Frank. We also went ahead and read Who Was Anne Frank through the Who Was series. So that was something that we just read on its own and didn't do a workbook with. We also went deeper into the Great Depression. And so I did the Great Depression workbook here. And I decided to put these workbooks together just because for us, I feel like when my kids, meaning my daughter and my niece, are doing, you know, reading books and stuff like that, it's easier for them to remember things once they've written it down and we've discussed it. So I found that doing these activity workbooks have really helped. So another one I did was the World War II. This is Eyewitness. Now this is definitely geared more towards the older grades, so like 4th grade. And I want to say it's a little old for 4th grade. There are a couple things in here that you may want to look through if you are going to do this study. Just to kind of know if you're going to touch on that with your kids before or at all. Okay, so I went ahead and put together this little workbook that goes alongside that. In most of my workbooks, it comes with activities, crafts, questions, true and false questions. We also have places where they can draw or creative writing on specific things. Things like that come in each one of my workbooks. So those are basically the workbooks that I did. I had also put together Alexander Graham Bell. I can't find the workbook that we did, that I made. We did the Wright brothers, and we also did Samantha's. This was for 1904, so it touched on so many of the things that we learned about in the book through Notgrass. So I did a workbook with this. This one the girls had a lot of fun with. So those are basically the workbooks that I added in, and then some readers that we did after we did Alexander Graham Bell. We read on Lewis Latimer. We read on women in World War II, just as a read aloud. I read the Orphan Train Writer. We read some of the At Ellis Island. And then I also read Kids at Work, Lewis Hine. You guys, some of these books are so good and so informational. They really put history in perspective. History is such a sad topic to even talk about, but we just have to remember that, you know, times are different now and we need to keep changing things for the better and keep progressing in that direction instead of going backwards. You know, I really hope one day that things will be good, but I don't know. I think that's when Jesus comes back, honestly. Okay, so that is basically the first set of books that I wanted to share with you with Notgrass. Now, the second set, we literally just started, myself and my daughter. My niece is actually working through Heritage Studies through BJU. My sister's liking that curriculum, but there is no place to add anything in. So you literally just stick by the curriculum. So if you're the type that just wants an open and go, well, it's not really open and go because there's some stuff that like goes with it, but I just mean to the fact that you don't have to like figure out what you're going to put together and stuff like that. That is the way to go. I also wanted to mention with the Our Star Spangled Story this year, actually ending that second book, for the 6 weeks that we had to work on it, we did Hidden Figures, Rosa Parks, and Martin Luther King. Those were so great to touch on. The Hidden Figures was awesome. We watched the movie. That's another thing. Make sure you guys look for movies that are online that can kind of go in and incorporate into this, along with checking out Pinterest and stuff like that. That's always something I love to do. So jumping into this year's books that we are using through Notgrass, we are really enjoying it. I've looked through it before we actually started, and there are a lot of things that we've already touched on, but I think with history, there's so much information that even though you've touched on it, you can always learn more. You know what I mean? So in Our Star Spangled Story, I've noticed that they are really touching on things that we learned in there with this new one, America the Beautiful. This is geared for grades 5 through 8, I want to say. Yeah, 5th through 8th. So I plan on doing these probably for the next 2 years, this year and her 6th grade year, because again, I like to add things in. Something that's really cool with this new book is once they teach the lesson, there's somewhere in that lesson that is called Fast Forward, and it talks about that specific place now, which is kind of cool to add in. There's scripture in here. We just love it, you guys. I love America the Beautiful, or I'm sorry, Notgrass. They also, this set comes with We the People, so these are different letters and archives and things like that, poems that go along with the lesson that you've read, which I really enjoy reading most of these. Sometimes we'll skip them, but most of the time we read them. It also comes with maps, and it comes with a timeline. You can also get a student workbook and a lesson review. Now, I didn't, because mine came with a teacher guide or teacher key, and I just ask her the questions that are in there and the answers are in there, so I didn't buy the extra book. But that works out great. So basically, I'm doing the same thing with this set, And I'm going to be making more units to go along with it. I just did a Connecticut colony because we touched on all the colonies. And so I had a book on that, so I'm doing that. I'm gonna be doing one for the Boston Tea Party, who was George Washington, what is the Declaration of Independence, who was Abraham Lincoln, the Trail of Tears, and westward expansion. Now, I also wanted to mention that some of these you can actually do with the Our Star Spangled Story, because again, they touch on some of the same things, but they teach different things about that topic or about that time. So it's not teaching the same exact thing. They're actually touching on different things during that time, if that makes sense. So yes, they're going through, you know, the colonies, but they're touching on all different people that they touched on from Our Star Spangled Story. I hope that makes sense. But that's basically what I'm gonna be doing with this year's. There's gonna be more that I add into it, but those are some things that I really enjoy about this curriculum. I feel that they're pretty truthful from my understanding. I mean, I can only go off of what I've learned recently and what I was taught, which makes it really hard. So trying to differentiate between what is true history and what is not, that's been a challenge for me. So I'm praying, I've prayed about it, and I'm leaving it to God to show me the way and where I go to teach them. And yeah, so those are some things that I really enjoy about their curriculum. Another thing that I really love about Notgrass is their curriculum is pretty straightforward. It's very easy to follow. So even like last year, I want to say, when my niece was in 3rd grade and my daughter was in 4th grade, sometimes I would get up and have to do something, and I would just tell them to continue reading the lesson. They would read the lesson, they would do the questions, they would work on their workbook, because everything is in their textbook. At the end of each lesson, it literally tells them, work on your student workbook, this specific page, or, you know, read your timeline, this page. So it's very straightforward, easy for your kiddos to follow if you have multiple kids, or if you have a job and you're trying to homeschool and doing homeschool and teaching at the same time. Like, it really is flexible enough for you to do that. And the lessons don't take very long. You can pick and choose what you want to actually use out of their curriculum, and I feel like you will still be learning. So another thing I wanted to mention is, if you guys are at all interested in Notgrass, they do offer free units. I think they give you a couple free units, and again, each unit has 3 lessons. So if you're not quite sure if it's something that will be a good fit for you, and history has been kind of challenging for you to figure out which ones you want to use, or what curriculum you want to go with, or what style you're looking for, make sure you guys take them up on that offer and just print out what you can do for free, and then try it out and see if it works for you. That's what I would definitely do before purchasing it. But if you guys are at all interested, I am actually an affiliate with them, and I was an affiliate with them after I had started their curriculum and loved it. So I love being able to share their curriculum with other families. But if you're at all interested, I will have the link down below if you want to click on it. That would definitely help out my channel. But that is it, you guys. So I hope that this was helpful to you, and I hope I didn't run around in circles too much for you, but I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with me today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Be safe and be blessed. Bye, guys.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars,